Hello and welcome to this NZUS Council live stream. I'm Jordan Small, Executive Director here at the Council. I'm joined by Leon Grice. Welcome, Leon.
Hey, Jordan, we're right in the pit here.
We really are. Hopefully people can see us. We're going for this really grungy, sort of
Back of the bar.
moody vibe for today's live stream. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I've been looking forward to this. I always enjoy a presidential election. You know, it's a huge democracy, the United States. It's a federal election. You know, this is like 50 countries coming together and voting on the same day. It's a great celebration of voting.
Yeah, that's how I see it too. It's a celebration of democracy, and I've said it before, but the messiness of it. But that's how it works, right?
Yeah, well, all democracy is messy. That's the whole point. And you know, the result is certainly we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so excited to see the states come in.
Yeah.
And it gets drip fed, and it has these patterns. And then we're going to be misled. We'll go down some wrong rabbit holes.
Yeah.
We'll come out of them, and there'll be all sorts of things that we learn through the day. So I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, and so that's what we'll be doing today. Is we'll be sort of digging into the results at the top of each hour. We'll do a 10 to 15 minute sort of live stream. What are the latest results? What do they actually tell us at this point? What don't they tell us? And then when do you reckon we'll start getting a feel for it?
In about an hour and a half, Kentucky and Indiana will be coming in. The first ones will be coming in. So, but I think we're sort of about 3 or 4 hours away before we get it. Now, Kentucky will be a solid Republican Party, but a win. But the question will be by what margin? What does that mean in terms of the model in the rest of the states? And Indiana as well will probably be a Republican win.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too we've got to look out for through the day is that there's so many mail-in ballots, and some states count them early and some will be counting them days later. And there's probably going to be a bias towards Republicans turning out on the day as opposed to Democrats turning out on the day normally. So we're going to have to be very careful about how we interpret the results as the results come in.
Yeah, that's right. And there's some clear, well, in the US anyway, media guidelines around the reporting of the results at this point, and some pretty good advice there on what to take on board and what's credible early in the day. But you say results aren't coming in for another few hours. Why are we starting this live stream at lunchtime in the middle of a party?
Well, because the US Embassy decided that they were going to have the party start at midday, and why would we be wowzers? But which state are you going to be looking? Which is the state you're going to be focused on?
I think it's the state that everyone is focused on. Well, two for me. First, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then Florida.
Yeah.
And then, because I think we could have, depending on how those go, we could have an early.
Yeah.
You could have a pretty good feel for how this is going to shape up.
Yeah, I've taken some of the smaller states, Georgia, North Carolina, may give us an indication of where they're going, because we may not get a result at all from Pennsylvania and Florida in the next 24 hours. I mean, if Florida is as close as Gore versus George W. Bush, that took weeks to sort out. Yep. And Florida is always, some ridiculous, right, going back to, I think, Clinton, there's been 20,000 votes difference between the two parties.
Yeah.
And so Florida is going to be very close, so we may not actually be able to find out today whether or not it is going to be determinative. The other one is Pennsylvania too. We don't know how long it's going to take for them to count their mail ballots, so we may not get a result from them. But maybe we'll get an indication of where that Sun Belt is heading with Georgia and North Carolina. And if Biden is picking them up or Trump's picking them up, I think that'll give us a strong steer to where Pennsylvania and Florida are heading.
Yeah, and so just a little information on those for those watching on where we're at. So we're at a joint function we're hosting with the US Embassy in Wellington Central, and we're expecting about 300 people over the course of the afternoon. So it's going to be quite a party vibe. I expect people will drop in about lunchtime and then come back in throughout the afternoon.
Have a lie down.
Have a lie down. Yep.
Yeah. Scott Brown, I think, is coming in at 4 o'clock. So we'll
Oh,
be
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
we're going to want to put him on one of the top of the hour because
Yep.
he'll be a great enthusiast for what's going on.
Yep. But don't worry, it won't be just Leon and I throughout the
What do you mean?
the afternoon. So make sure you follow our Twitter, follow our Facebook, and we'll update you with the guests we'll have. So our guest at 1 p.m. is Ryan Jennings from Buy NZ Made, and we're just going to do a back to basics on the US electoral system with him. So where does this number 270 come from? So what is a pathway to victory? What races are US citizens voting on today? So it's not just the presidential race. What are the other races? And what's all this business about the US Supreme Court and their potential role if it's a very close contest? So we'll cover all of those sorts of questions. It's going to be a little bit of a Q&A. So Ryan asking some questions for his members, and hopefully it'll be useful for others as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hopefully, I think Kirk Hope's coming in. We might be able to squeeze Kirk in from Business New Zealand. And
Yep. Anna Kominick from Whisk.
Yeah, and Catherine Baird will be in, and so some of our key members will be coming along.
Yeah.
And they're all, like Jordan, a junkie for American politics.
And I think if we can, we'll just pull in people from the crowd who. This is a real, it's a real geek out session, right?
Yeah. This is for geeks.
Yeah, I mean, who really spends an afternoon watching election results rolling in? Me too.
Yeah, I've been studying the polls almost like every 10 minutes for the last 4 weeks. So
yeah.
I'm going to have go into recovery after this election.
Sure. Can you make a pick, or is that not appropriate
for me? It's not appropriate.
Yeah.
For me, it's not appropriate at the moment. I think we've got to let as this party unfolds, let the results come in. If I see some of those places like North Carolina, I'll start to say what my gut is saying.
Yeah.
But it's gonna come down Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, those places.
Would it be valuable at this point to look at the last polls? So 538 live. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, there we go. So this is well-known website, 538 Live. They have a quantitative focus. They've got this really interesting model that basically runs, I think it's about 10,000 simulations of election results.
It's called Monte Carlo simulation mathematics, if you really want to know.
Right. Okay, thanks for that, Leon. But what this was something you were really interested in, Leon, and it's a tool that viewers can go to themselves. So that's 538.com. But talk us through it.
Well, it's interesting to play with this particular tool that they've got on their front page, because it allows you to say, okay, let's say that North Carolina falls into the Biden camp or the Trump camp, and it'll recalculate the entire model for the United States in every state. And so as we get some certainty or some indications of which way states are going, we're going to start choosing which way we think each state is going. The model's going to calculate what that means in terms of the pathways to victory for either Biden or for Trump. And we might get some early trends out of it. So, Nate Silver and the team have built this model. I think it'll be just fascinating to watch this unfold as the results come in. Yeah,
absolutely. Other useful sites?
Real Clear Politics is another one that's useful. It's really it's really tricky. I did read an article last night on at 11 o'clock when I wasn't sleeping, and it put me
excited.
It put me to sleep. But it was an article that said that there were a group of partisan polls in 538 and in Real Clear Politics, both Democrat partisan polls and Republican partisan polls that were skewing. And what you were getting is, rather than all the poll results aggregating around a bell curve mean, it was basically a dromedary, a two-humped camel. And so even the polls are not agreeing with each other. So in some ways, we'll know reasonably soon which hump in the camel of the two-humped camel is going to be right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was a relative consensus on the polling. And I know there's been some late, more partisan polls coming out, and I think 538 has done a bit of discounting.
Yeah, they do. They do discount. There's for the partisan, for the partisan nature of it. But the plain fact is Rasmussen, Emerson, Susquehanna, these polls, they're Republican polls, and they're picking that Trump's within the margin where he beat Hillary Clinton from.
Yeah. So those viewers, don't forget to drop in comments or questions. Hey, we might even do some call-ins. This will be like talk back.
No abuse. We will not accept abuse.
No. I think I have to know the person before we're gonna bring them in. But drop in some comments. If you have particular questions you want answered, let us know. We want this to be quite interactive. So you can do that in your comment box wherever you're watching, either on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. So like I said from the outset, we'll be coming back to you at the top of the hour, every hour, right through until 6 o'clock. I'm not sure if we'll do 6 o'clock. We'll definitely do 5 o'clock.
Well, it depends on the results.
Yeah.
It depends on the results. If we've got something to say, we're going to be there.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. That's the word from the boss.
He's not allowed to drink. He's not allowed to drink.
I'm working late tonight. No, it's exciting. And I'm sure, as the afternoon stretches on, people might become a little bit more open about their thoughts on the race and what they're thinking. It is an open bar.
Is it?
It is an open. Wow.
That's a dangerous thing.
Wow. Is it an open bar? Well, there's some tokens, but it's open bar for us, Leon. And a good American Kai. So it's gonna be a great afternoon. So we'll be back at 1 o'clock New Zealand time. Together, myself, Leon, Ryan Jennings from Buy NZ Made, for that Back to Basics on the US electoral process. So join us then. Thanks for joining us now. We'll see you soon.